Hello, welcome everyone. This is Inspire Circle, where we seek to inspire you, encourage you, and empower you to become the best version of yourself. My name is Fumi Olayinka, and I am the host for this program. I am a registered nurse. I am also a John Maxwell speaker, trainer, and coach. And I'm excited this morning. I have a very wonderful guest with me. She's my big sister, as I called her, and she's also a wonderful friend. Her name is Bola Otaraki. Bola Otaraki is a seasoned professor. She's a speaker. She's a servant leader. She's a mentor to many, a coach and a trainer. She's a chemical engineer, but she also into project management, and she has experience in with diverse organizations. She has won the Impact Award and was inducted into the Black Canadian Women Wall of Role Model in 20. Bola is a two-time nominee of the RBC Top 25 Canadian Immigrants Award and a winner of the Knight Remarkable Mothers Award in May 2024. Bola Otaraki, you are welcome to Inspire Circle. I know I've done an introduction, but I always like to hear from my guests for them to tell us more about themselves. So let's know you better.
Awesome. Thank you so much for me. So I think of myself, I talk about just three things. I'm a mother of two beautiful girls. That is a huge, huge responsibility, my primary role. And I'm a minister of the gospel of Jesus. And then I'm a mentor, and in mentoring, I apply all my knowledge. So chemical engineering, as you mentioned, project management, predominantly, I'm passionate about project management, and I seek to engage people to, make them interested, especially my students. I teach. I have a passion for student success.
Mhm.
So I bring in all kinds of things that I feel would empower my students. And most of them are international students. Many of them don't have um, family here, so that's where the mother comes in as well. So and I enjoy simple things in life. So that's me.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. I love the fact that you have this motherly, demeanor to your students, especially I understand how the terrain of Canada can be if your families are not here. But you coming and stepping up to the plate to fill that role for them, being a teacher and being a mother at the same time. Though there could be some intersectionality between both, but you rising up to that challenge is something that is very remarkable. No wonder you won the Remarkable Mothers Award this year. That is fantastic. You are remarkable indeed. Thank you so much for letting us know more about you. Now we are going to start off with a question. And the first question I have for you is, when did you discover your leadership capabilities? Because you've mentioned so many things that you're doing today, and it takes somebody with a heart of leadership to be involved in some of those things.
Thank you so much for me. I think the leadership discovered me because I just have this personality where I take ownership.
Mm,
I want things to be better. I think of areas I can improve things. So anytime I step into somewhere, it's happened to me multiple times,
mm,
people bring responsibility to me because they see that I take ownership. And I think leadership is predominantly taking ownership of a situation, of a group, of and being able to identify how you can improve. So it started with always, getting responsibility, even in different settings. Coming to Canada newly, I don't tell people what I've done in the past, but they come and they say, you take over the, like my first job with RBC, take over, hosting the small business entrepreneur sessions. So
mhm,
I discovered that there is always that opportunity to lead. There's always that opportunity to contribute, to do something better. So I applied for, and I was fortunate to get into the Leadership Institute masterclass with the PMI. It's a
Mm,
huge investment on their part. So there were, I think, about 24 of us in my year. And because of COVID, it was 2 years instead of 1 year. And we were trained on leadership. So, it started as well, right from birth. I take on responsibility. I take ownership. I want to see things progress the right direction. And then I got formal training in leadership,
mm.
and I've taken it from there. And now it's like I seem to be a thought leader, whatever that is.
I love that. That is fantastic. And you actually said some things that stood out for me. And that is going to be a fallout of the next question I'm going to ask you. You mentioned something about ownership. And John Maxwell says something. He's my mentor. He says leadership is not about titles, but about influence. And ownership, coming from the side of ownership, it's also about you standing up to the responsibility. And the scripture also say, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yes,
And you have been faithful all along the way in what God has given unto you, or the responsibilities and the assignments that's been given unto you. But I want you to speak just a little bit more, for the listener on what ownership looks like to you. What does ownership looks like to you in the aspect of leadership?
awesome. So for me, ownership means, and I mean, it could be so simple. You walk into a room, the chairs are not very straight.
Hmm.
You do have that responsibility if you are part of the, maybe it's a church setting, or you're hosting some kind of session, or even you're a guest, or there's litter in a park. I have to be honest, I sometimes go to the extreme of, I look at the representation of maybe blacks or any community I'm in. If I see people that are not showing proper representation, like the young ones that hang their pants, I'm happy to walk up to them and say, you know what, why don't you try this out? So that's ownership. That is seeing things from a lens of how can it be better? How can it be great? And the reverse, when I see young guys that are properly dressed, looking really, well, representing us well, I walk up to them and I say, wow, thank you so much. You are really representing us, whatever community you're representing. Thank you so much. You're doing an excellent job. And for me, that is ownership.
And as you were speaking, what was echoing out to me was initiative. Ownership is like your ability to take initiative. No, nobody has to push you. You take that initiative, you stand up for what is right. And that is one thing that I always tell my kids, you have to learn to take initiative, not because of you want a title, but because it is the right thing to do. Thing that stood out for me the first time you were speaking. And I'm going to ask you, leadership, can it be learned or is it inborn? Because you said leadership found you. So I was wondering, can it be learned? And as you were talking also, you said, okay, you had to be trained you had formal training in some aspect of leadership that you had to go through. So leadership, can we be trained in leadership, or is it something that just comes upon you?
Excellent. So I think I even did a paper, some kind of study on leadership. Are leaders born or made?
Mhm.
And in that paper, so of course, research, whatever it is, research, the actual fact is that leaders are born. We are all leaders.
Mm.
And there's I think it's my pastor that says that there were, I don't know how many millions of sperm, and you fought your way, you led your way and came out as a living being. So you have the innate uh,
Mm.
ex, expertise, I would put it, to lead. What leadership just means, taking ownership. Leadership just means identifying opportunities for positive change, right? So leaders are actually born, and I tell my students in any class, I tell them that, look, you are. the project leader in the project of excelling in this course. So
Mm.
even I take it further, not only are you a leader, you are all project leaders. And what's a project? Just a temporary endeavor that has a unique outcome. Now I'm teaching. Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay. The aspect of is it can it be learned? I think you've not answered the aspect. There's a potential of leadership in each and every one of us.
Can be developed. We are innately born leaders. Many of us through fear, through lack of self-awareness, poor self-esteem, we don't use those skills. But it can even be enhanced. The little you have, you can improve on it. You can, and you can pick up a program. Go to LinkedIn Learning. There's always enough opportunity to develop those skills, to build on those skills, to excel, even at leadership. It seems like people think it's something oh, that's a great leader. No, you learn it, you
Mm,
build it, you polish it. It's like a muscle. You develop that
mm.
muscle of leadership, proper and excellent leadership.
Thank you so much. Miles Moron said one thing, is that we all have potential, but potential that is not used will remain as it is, a potential. So from what I can hear you say, we all have that leadership capacity, capability in each one of us. And the Bible also affirms in the book of Genesis, it says, in the beginning, it gave dominion to us. It says, go and have dominion. And
Mm.
having dominion is part of our leadership capacities.
Uh,
But as you said, most of us, we come, self-doubt, thinking you are not enough, not believing in that potential yourself. But it can be developed, as you said. That is why we developed all the skills that we need to function in that place of dominion and leadership that God has given unto us. Thank you so very much.
The scripture, we are joint hearers. We sit in the place of leadership. That is a leader, being a prince, a king, alongside the Most High. It's a position of leadership already. You know,
Yeah. Wow, thank you for that scripture. Yes, we are seated with Christ in heavenly places. Thank you. So now I'm going to bring in a little tweak. Because I'm interviewing you as a woman, I know as women, there is this the challenge of women being in leadership, not being seen enough, and all those kind of things. But I want you to speak to an aspect. I read a report by the Center for Creative Leadership, and they echoed a wide range of challenges that women in leadership position face. In fact, they came up with a research and highlighted some challenges that women in leadership face. And one of those challenges was that women don't have mentors or allyship enough in leadership role that can encourage them to aspire to those leadership role. What do you think as women can be done, to provide that space?
that's a wonderful question. Um, quite frankly, we as women, we have so much going on that sometimes, we don't even have the capacity to seek for the mentorship. So I'm hoping and I'm guessing that there has to be mentorship program tailored towards women. Maybe that's a gap. I mentor with different organizations, but I do, and now that you're mentioning it, I'm thinking about it. I don't know any mentorship program that is geared to women to women. I mentor with TRIEC, Toronto Regional Immigrant Employment Council. That is towards, immigrants. Mentor
Hmm.
with PMI, Project Management Institute. It's again geared towards project managers. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'll do more research. Maybe there's a gap that you and I can fill in a formal structure or some kind of opportunity for women and that is a great point because the mentorship of woman to woman and the mentorship of woman to man most of my mentees are men. I
And that
was
is the challenge that we have because when you have a woman as a mentor, you're in the space whereby this person assumed understand your challenges, what you're going through. Maybe the person is also a mom like you. She understands your challenges. She understands your fears. She understands that women sometimes we feel this low esteem, low self-worth, and you need to somebody to encourage you to get to that next step and next level. So
how do you talk about your period? Okay, I have a period. I just don't feel like going to class. And your mentor is a man, and you're telling him, I need, what do I do? I need tools. I need something in my
yeah,
toolbox to deal with that
yeah.
thing. So apart from family, like, aunties or mom, there has to also be some kind of formal woman to woman mentorship program.
Think we've been able to identify the gap in terms of women assuming the space of leadership, especially in their professional and their career life. That will bring me to the next question. Apart from mentorship, what do you think is important for women in leadership role? I know you're in leadership, you're a professor, you are a mom. You are involved in the church. So what is really important for women in leadership?
Awesome. Thank you so much. You see, and even from your previous question, we ourselves, the leaders, need to create those opportunities for more, to develop more women leaders. I spoke with someone yesterday and I said, you know what? Most organizations in Canada, they are top heavy with white male, and the fabric of the nation demands diversity, expects diversity from you,
Hmm.
but they still lack in growing from the ground up. So as a leader, we should begin to identify one, two, three women that you're going to nurture, that you're going to build up, that you're going to invest in to make
Hmm.
sure that they can also take on that role. And one teaches one, and we, as a group, as a force, we begin to depopulate, the
Yeah,
sea level. The sea level is really it lacks diversity, and women are excellent. I mean, there's this the New Zealand Prime Minister, that the past New Zealand, I love her to
mhm,
death, Jacinta Ardern. I look at her leadership, it's exemplary. And it's exemplary that she even knew when it was time to move on.
hmm.
That is also lacking in leadership. So as women, we want to build ourselves up. We want to identify new women leaders, and we want to equip them, support them, you know, pray with them,
Wow.
interact with them.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much. And it's all still boils down to, having the ones of burden leaders coming up, having a model to look up to. I think it all still comes down to that, which is very important. And another thing I was looking at was, despite the fact that we are women, we are also leaders at home, despite the fact that we want to be leaders in our profession, in our home, we are also leaders at home. And we have to know how to balance, these styles of leadership, the different balls that we have in our hands. And wholeness comes into it. We have to know how to balance our wholeness, and we have to develop agency. And agency simply is, taking ownership, as you said, taking ownership of your leadership journey. And authenticity is part of it. Be yourself, be who you are, which is very important. Thank you so much for that fantastic answer. I so much love it. And I love the example of the New Zealand Prime Minister that you mentioned. She's definitely somebody that to look up to, somebody that inspires you, to take up your leadership journey. So I want to ask you for that budding leadership woman out there. Maybe it's me. Aspiring to be maybe a professor like you, and what would you say to them? How did you get there? What were your challenges personally now? What were your challenges? How would you get there? Yeah.
So it's personally, I have this sink or swim mentality. And I don't know if it's something to do with my background, upbringing, home country, but I hustle. I hustle and I hustle hard. If I, for instance, I'll give you a typical example. I was not always in teaching. I was in industry, program management, portfolio management, and it was taking a toll on me. I am someone that speaks up. So I would always speak up. Sometimes I would get fired. Sometimes the environment would become tough.
Mm,
And then started teaching. I taught one subject. It wasn't financially viable. So I went
mhm,
back to industry. But I discovered the same issues with, so now I had to pick different organizations to teach in, not just one. So
mm,
first of all, identifying your niche. Where will you thrive? What is it that gives you so much joy that even if they didn't pay you, you would keep doing it? Where is that area that you
mm.
stand out naturally? Naturally, you don't have to put too much effort. Then you now channel your energy to excel. You really have to work hard. And I use the word hustle. I don't
That's
it,
okay.
it just means put in hard work,
Mm.
smart work, not just, smart
Taking
work.
ownership too. It's taking ownership of, your journey. Yeah.
Doing exam, like I tell, do certification. What is it that will make you certified? What is it that will make you a thought leader in an industry? So I've taken the project management portfolio, a project management certification, PMP. I
Mm.
want to go further. I've done the DASSM. I've done So I want to be recognized in a field based on knowledge, based on wisdom, based on the application of what I've learned.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. And you mentioned something about being in a toxic environment, and I can imagine what it must have been for you in that place. It's a terrible thing, a hard thing, to be in a place that you are not appreciated or your voice is not heard. And you don't get the necessary feedback, that will propel you towards your path. But good that you were able to navigate. And that comes back to what we said in the beginning, taking ownership. Sometimes promotion does not, it doesn't come, is this vertical? Doesn't come vertically. You have to navigate yourself horizontally, to look at the different sectors in which you can channel yourself to and create a niche. And by the time you go horizontal, you find out that the vertical is also happening at the same time, which is very necessary. For me, this is my passion. I love doing this. And it's basically because I want to learn and I also want to inspire other people. You have said so many things today that I have learned from you, and I'm collating my portfolio. Also being an inspiration to somebody that is coming up. There has to be representation of women in leadership, especially in the environment in which we have. We have to know what leadership is. Leadership is not about title. Leadership is about taking ownership of your journey and inspiring people, taking as many as you could along with you. And we can all be leaders. We can all be leaders. Thank you. So we are going to put an end to it today. But before we end, I want you to just give us one word for that person. Just your last parting word.
So just to thank you so much for this opportunity. It's amazing the opportunity to share with people, to make someone understand that the journey might be one way now. There's a possibility for a better journey. I want to leave my most favorite scripture as a parting word. I think that, in what we've been discussing, my favorite scripture is Philippians 4:8, and it
Mm,
talks about what to spend your time and your efforts doing. It says,
mm,
finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. And tying it into our conversation, find a way to constantly develop the positive, push aside the negative, and keep moving, keep growing, keep pushing, keep being a better you.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much for that Bible verse. I think I'm going to add it to my list of favorites now because it's coming from one of my mentors. Thank you so much, Bola Otaraki, for being with us on Inspire Circle. This is one of the episode I've enjoyed so much because you brought out your authentic self and you shared with us your inspiring story as a woman in leadership. Audience, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been a pleasure serving you. And I want you to, share with us in the comments what you think about this episode. And maybe there is a topic you want us to share with, we will be willing to share with you. And as usual, until we see you again, have a wonderful time.